Hi and welcome to the tutorial for the corner end tidy. This is for this little pod here. This is a useful pod for either finishing off an end, which would otherwise be exposed inside a part of your main structure, but also using an end connector. It allows you to sort of make allows you to make corners as well. So it's a very useful little pod. Okay. What you're going to need for this is you're going to need your end connector sheet, 4 to a sheet on here. You're also going to need your mount board base. Now this is just 4 end connectors. What you've got basically, you've got the base, the main base. You've got a side support on there already. You can use a side support from your side support sheets, and you've also got this special internal support, which is just kind of half a support for this particular pod. Okay, now just pop this out here. I've pre-cut this out, and to save time I've pre-cut this as well. Okay, so all I've done is I've scalpeled out this one of these sheets here, scalpeled out one shape, and just like a completely ordinary pod, a basic pod, you've got all your usual scores, overscores and underscores on both these parts and on this part here as well, and then I just folded it to shape, and that basically gives you the kind of corner pod shape, as it were. This is just identical fold into a basic pod basically. One thing I've done as well to save time is I've already bolstered this. Now if you watch the essential how-to guide, I actually use this particular pod to explain how to do bolstering. So if you watch that part of the video, you'll actually get the complete bolstering for how to bolster this part under here as well. As you can see, I've already bolstered. I've bolstered here, along here, and across here on each one of these areas, so that when this goes together, this top bit here has actually got something to glue onto. The only additional bit, which I didn't do on the essential guide, is I put this little extra bolster on here. All I've done basically is I've taken an offcut of card, like I always do with bolstering, and I've cut this little sort of boomerangy type shape, and this fits under here. The reason for that is so that this has got some extra support here. There's also going to be this internal support, which is going to give it structure, a bit of strength as well. So yeah, this is it, bolstered and ready to go. I've taken the base as well. I've cut the base out and I've beveled it along the 3 sides where it says to bevel, and I've taken the ordinary side support, same side support you use on all the pods, and I've cut that out, and I've just used the edging technique to basically pop that on here. Nice and simple. Okay, so I'm going to show you the bit that's going to be slightly different from all the other bits and pieces you've done so far. This is the internal support. It's got this kind of edge on it here, this gap that I've kind of cut out. This is so that if you decide to go for the peg connector through here, it leaves a gap so that peg connector can actually go through, but also not too far of a gap so that you can't accidentally push a peg in too far and have it like rattling around inside. Okay, so all I'm going to do is glue this on. So when I glue this on, obviously make sure it fits first, make sure it doesn't need any additional trimming, and then make sure that when you glue this on, you glue it absolutely bang in the middle. I can't see if I'm doing that right from where I am with the camera, but absolutely bang in the middle, so that it allows for this peg and the little stopper of the peg there as well. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to very quickly pop this in. Don't need to edge glue this. while this is still wet as it were, I'm going to make sure this is completely level, as with all the pods. Smack on. Okay, and then you would all obviously leave that to dry so that the level stays solid. I'm going to just crack on with this. The last thing that you need to do then is to actually glue on the top. And all you're going to do, again, before you actually glue it on, is just make sure the whole thing fits nicely. So you just lay that across the top like that. And that's perfect. Okay, cool. So that's fitting nicely. I'm going to glue it down. The way I'm going to do this is, I've been messing around with this, so I'm just going to check the level. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to glue one side down, give myself a bit of time. Oops. Basically glue the top and one side down, then I'll glue the other side down, and when I'm happy that that's all pretty much there and I've checked it's still fitting, last but not least I'm going to glue this front bit, and then that's the whole thing done. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Edging technique now. Okay, that's one side. Now I'm going to pop the other side down. Okay, so that's both the sides done. I'm just going to very carefully check to make sure this fits on the front, which it does fine. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to create one more small bolster. I'm going to pop it just in here under the little boomerang piece we made, one there and one there. And I'm just going to kind of do it by eye as best as I possibly can. Actually, I've got a tiny bit here, that might be slightly too tall. Just take a little bit off. That's about right. And the idea is that I've got something to stop this from moving down here. I don't want that to happen. So I just quickly did that. That's quite good. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have to be that short. It could be slightly longer. It really doesn't matter. And actually, I'm going to put the glue directly in here. You don't need to worry about edge gluing this, so you can splodge a nice lot of glue in top of there and under there as well. Okay. I'm very carefully just going to feed that in. And then apply a little bit of pressure, pop it out. And that creates a kind of a little, I don't know what the word is, little support, I guess. So I can now put downwards pressure on there, and when the glue dries, that'll be quite firm. What I should have done is before I glued that in is measured that up against this one, but I'll do another one by eye. And you can see it really doesn't matter what shape this is, it's all going to be inside. When put it in, just make sure it's back enough, it doesn't stick out, to stop this getting in the way of when you put this down. That's fine. I can put a bit of pressure on there now, and again I'd leave that to dry. So I'd probably make, when I made the sets, what I tend to do is I'll make a whole sheet of one thing, so that I can kind of be getting on with scalpeling something else out while I'm waiting for bits to dry. Okay, so that's it. One final check to make sure that that fits down okay, and that's a very good fit. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to very carefully edge glue all the way across here, and then finally, in fact I'll do it first, I'll put a nice big splodge on the middle, and then I'll edge glue everything else. When you're gluing this final part, one thing to remember is to pop a little bit of glue on top of here and on top of here as well, the little boomerang shape she made. Okay, let's just pop this down. And when doing the gluing of this final part, unlike the other pods, it just takes a little bit more kind of holding in place, because there's a few different pressures working in different areas, and you just need to hold it there that little bit longer to make sure the glue's dry. So I'm going to continue to do that, starting to come out the side here, so I'm just going to pop that back in, hold the glue down. Okay, and that's it. That's your little pod done. What you can do now is, that's the end connector. You can pop all sorts of bits and pieces in between there. Also makes a nice kind of like centre pillar for inside. And obviously you can extend those to whichever height you want. Pop a console in there, make it a sort of standalone console. But yeah, that's it. All done and dusted. Thanks very much for watching this tutorial. On to the next tutorial, and happy gaming.